can't tell you what happened in May and June. I can't, you know, there are things, I know in May I was in the hospital a lot. In June, I was at my home, but I can't tell you what I was doing any of that time. But around July is when I started to really get involved in my activities for just getting better. And in that process, I began to learn some things. You know, just do what they ask you to do. Sometimes I don't do enough of what they ask me to do, but I'm better than I was, okay? And so from that, I have now begun to get involved with the organization again. The organization is 8 years old. I am the founder of the organization, but I just didn't find it all by myself, okay? No organization starts all by itself, okay? So people like Carolyn Barr was there to help me. People who were interested in what women were going through with breast cancer wanted to help. And so in the process, we started right about this time in September, okay? So this is the end of our year, and the beginning of, and October will become the beginning of the next year, okay? So with that, I want to thank you all for inviting me out. I want to thank you all for allowing me to allow this to be my first time speaking in several months, okay? All right? And hopefully we will get to the 20 minutes, but if we don't make 20, you all will understand, okay? You know, but I want to say that it has been a journey and a joy at the same time to go through what I've gone through. I remember that when I first started out, as Carolyn was talking about, just starting out being an advocate, you know, we formed the organization. I talked to a few women about what we were supposed to do, how we wanted to do it, you know, and all of that. And, you know, and people were giving me, you know, information, but at the same time, they weren't saying anything that was making sense to me because they were all taking a little long to get started. So we started right here at around this time of the year, around in September. We started it. We began to work through the individuals that needed to get some things started. Because you know, like when you start any nonprofit, you gotta get that 501c3 thing going on, right? You know? And so with that, that was gonna take a little bit of effort. But I have to thank God because where a lot of people, when they try to start their nonprofits, they may take up to 6 months, if not more, to get one started. We got ours started in about 7 weeks.
Wow!
In 7 weeks, we submitted our paperwork in the middle of January, which was just 4 months into the making. And by the middle of March, we had our paperwork in place. I thought we were just going to fill out the first application that goes, we need to answer this, you know, we need to answer that, you know, but we didn't have to answer anything. They just accepted everything. And so with that, it made it easier to have that first event that we were going to have, which was a luncheon. And so we had it, in the first year we had it as a luncheon, and we had it at a nice event, and from that we raised maybe $3,000 at the most, but it wasn't too much more than that. And I'm sitting there going, we need to do better than this, okay? This is just not going to work, okay? But it was our first year, it was in our first year, so I said, okay, so hopefully the next year will be better. And in the next year, we were able to do it in an evening event, and we've had it at the Newton White Mansion since then. And so, and each time that we do it, we're in that 160 to about 180 people type mark. They will hold up to about 220 at the most. But, you know, we were like, well, if we get into that range, that's fine. And so with that, we had our subsequent events. And those events were an evening event had dinner. We also had recognition of people, what they were doing. And we did it all within 2.5 hours, okay? Because we're of a nature that during the week, because we had to have the event during the week. You know, the Newton White Mansion is cheap during the week. You can get it about $800. If it's on the weekend, it's $4,000. During the week, you can get it for $800 if you're a nonprofit. So for those who are nonprofit, it is some place to go check out. And so from that, we were able to start raising like $6,000, $7,000. And the last that we did, we raised $10,000 to help our organization. And then from that, we're able to, you know, do things like for the parents who are just beginning to go through. I don't know if any of you all have had breast cancer, and I have not had it. It's just something that was called upon my heart to do, but I have not had it. But in going through breast cancer, a lot of women, you know, go through a lot. They have to go through a whole lot of stuff. And for some of them, it's easier than for others. Some people are able to just, you know, have a little surgery on their breast and that's it. They have some, you know, they may go through a little training or whatever on it and then that's it. But then there's some women who go months and they have to deal with it. Now, unfortunately, we're not an organization big enough to help you through all those months, but we're happy to help you if we can. But for those who are going through it, we want to be there. We want to be a light to them to let them know that there are some organizations out there who want to help them, who want to be there for them, who want to be able to make a difference in their lives. And so with that, we've started our comfort blanket program. That was our first blanket, the program that we did, and we did that in February. And it was so amazing how things happened when you first start out too, because we were no more than 6 months old. And Andrea Rowan from Channel 7 heard about us and came out and did an episode on it. Okay, so we were able to get her to come out, and she, you know, filmed a lot of different stuff, and then did a 2-minute segment about us on her morning show. And then later on, we got her to come out again in a couple of years to just be a hostess to one of our evening events and stuff like that. But that was, you know, that was just the first of it, and I'm sitting here telling the Lord, my God, if you can do this and I'm still working, what will you do if I stop working? You know? So from there, about 2 years after we started All Shades of Pink, I stopped working. Okay? So that was at the end of the year. I decided that I was going to do this full time and not get paid. Alright? My husband is looking at me like I'm crazy. My son is looking at me like I'm crazy. My daughter was a little away at that time, so she was like, y'all go get to deal with that. But the thing is, I went for 3 years not bringing in a salary, but it didn't stop the work of All Shades of Pink. I was still able to do things, and my husband and son carried the weight of the household. So I have to thank them always for what they do, because if it wasn't for them, I'm just not sure where All Shades of Pink would be here now. We're into our 8th year. Okay. Starting October 1, we begin our 8th year. And it's one of those things where I say to my son sometimes, I'm like, you know, Mom has a lot to do, but Mom can't do all of that and she's 54. You know, unfortunately, when you have a stroke, it gives you a new awakening in life. You realize there's some things you can do, and then there's some things that you have to oversee. You're not the one who does them. You have to oversee that they get done. And so now that is my new role, to learn how to oversee something, husband will attest. As long as I was willing to do it, they were fine. But okay, we just let her go ahead and run off. Just let her go do this, you know. And at the time, I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I mean, I wasn't doing it. This was all I had to do. And so, but what happens over time, your body gives out. And I just thank God that He let things happen the way He did. He allowed me to have that event on April the 26th, and then about 3 days later, I came down with a stroke. And I don't remember the stroke. I don't remember anything about the stroke. I just know that I can't lift my hand as high as I used to, and things like that. But at the same time, it doesn't stop me from doing things. But I had to realize that I wasn't the same person that I thought I was before the stroke. That doesn't mean I can't not do things. It just means that I have to limit what I do. I have to watch what I do. I have to make sure that I don't overdo things. And that's all it is. It's just making sure you don't overdo it. And that I'm looking now at people in a different light, so that those who said that they wanted to help, and they wanted to help in a bigger way, that I'm allowing them to help in a bigger way, okay? You know, I mean, when it came to, with the Comfort Blanket program, that's one of our first programs that we had. We make these hand crocheted blankets, and they're about 48 inches square. And from that, we will give them to individuals who are getting ready to go through with breast cancer. Well, you know, I figured we would help 1 or 2 hospitals along the way. We're at 11 hospitals.
Wow.
And it's amazing because, you know, we have a few of them that are here in this area, and then we have 3 of them in Baltimore. We have 2 of them down in Southern Maryland. So, I mean, they're just all over the place, okay? But I know that whatever happens, it happens because it's God's will for it to happen. It's not anything I'm doing or anybody else is doing. It's God's will that these things are happening the way they are. So you know, but with the blankets, we're at 11 hospitals. Who knows? We may go to a few more. It all depends on where God wants me to go in this process. It could be this is just going to be a local thing, or it could become national in a couple of more years. We'll have to see. You know, I didn't think it was going to even be what it is today. We're operating at around $150,000 to $180,000 budgets. Okay, so for us, those are big budgets. I mean, that's not as big as some other people, but they're big budgets. Okay, for us. Okay, being a non-profit. Okay, I grow a little teeny salad. When I say little teeny, I mean little teeny salad. But at least I give myself a little something now each and every month. But it's all good. It's all good. And you know, when we once we do the blankets, which is something that we give to everybody who applies to us. Okay. Now we give out. We're probably doing close to 50 or 60 blankets a month. Sometimes we do up to 80 blankets a month. It all depends on what that looks like for the month. And then, and so I have blankets downstairs in my basement. Sometimes I have a lot, and sometimes I get small. Right now we're getting ready to get on the small side in that during the summer months things aren't as active as they are in the winter months. And so, but all in all, we are able to maintain ourselves, and that's the important thing, that we're able to maintain. And so, you know, I thank God that we're able to do the blankets, because that's the thing that's most important to us, that we touch women who are being diagnosed with breast cancer. We also want to help those with when we do the, you know, when we have the All Shades of Pink does the, and I'm sorry here, because this is my first time talking, so sometimes I get to a point I can't, I'm like, I can't go anymore. But, you know, like when All Shades of Pink. And so because of that, All Shades of Pink has to give money away to help women diagnosed with breast cancer. And so we're helping about, I think we started that about 3 years ago. And so we have close to 200 women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. For us, that's a lot. Because we're a small organization when you think about organizations. But at the same time, we're doing what we can here in this area. And that's the okay, that we do what we can in this area. So with that, we're helping people with the blankets, we're helping people with their finances, their utilities, and stuff like that. And then there's some other things that we do along the way as well. And so with all of that, I just say, I keep telling the Lord, thank you for allowing me to still be here another day. Because we all know, or for those of you who have never known, to have a stroke, you have no idea what's happening. Okay? For some people, you die right then and there. For others, you're allowed to live a little longer, do a little bit more, and who knows? I could live another 30 years, 40 years, or I might be gone in another year. We don't really know for sure, but we take each day as it comes, doing what we can, helping those that we can. And so that's what, and so I thank, the NAPWDC2014, I'll get it right again, NAPW, for being there for us, for allowing us to come and share with you all what we're doing. And then I just want to tell them that I thank them for everything that they do. Because even though our missions may be a little bit different, they're still the same in certain areas. Okay? And so with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for what you've done. Amen. Amen.
We're so grateful for her. Let me tell you, she told me, she just kept saying when I was she kept saying when I was speaking with her, I just have to speak 5 minutes, right? I just have to speak 5 minutes. I'm like, sure, just 5 minutes, whatever, you would do. But you all, you didn't know. You didn't know she had the stroke. We didn't know she had the stroke. But God knew we needed her here to come and speak with us about that. But let me just brag on her a little bit because she wouldn't do that. Miss White, as she mentioned, is the founder of she's the executive director and founder of All Shades of Pink. She developed a wonderful ability to raise funds and bring attention to the efforts of the organization. And other organizations recognize this. So she's been recognized for the Southern Prince George Business and Professional Women's Incorporation as their Women of the Year. She's received a proclamation from the Prince George's County Council regarding outstanding work in the breast cancer arena. She's been recognized as by the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club as Leadership Achievement through All Shades of Pink. And under her leadership, through All Shades of Pink, she's touched the lives of over 10,000 individuals throughout the Washington metropolitan area. And her motto at that time was, I'm here to serve, not to be served. And it reflects the outlook of her life. And last